is NTV.
Glad you could join us on NTV Weekend Edition this Friday. Here is what we have lined up. Tonight, Parliament's startling admission on BBI bill.
We have said that it was a typing error in the bill that went to 32 county assemblies.
That highlights the problem of a process that is not consensual.
House leadership calls special sitting to debate bill. Also tonight, search for next top lawyer closes, but no names just yet.
We will wait for the court process to be concluded before we resume and conclude.
Lawyer Alice Yano argues her case before JSC panel.
I just pick a phone call and call Mama Margaret, get me to know the moods of Mzee.
Plus, rugby star Alex Olaba back in the dock, this time for attempted murder.
Has actually hired hitmen or a hitman and was arrested in a meeting meant to fulfill his goal.
Plot to eliminate key witness in rape case thwarted. And
Munamumanya, munamulola sawa sawa. Huyu ndiye gavana wetu 2022.
We are the people, we are the leaders.
Of political grandstanding and semantics, it's Feel Good Friday.
Kutisha Pomas, sisi machambuzi tugie Pomas.
NTV Tonight with Olive Burrows.
With me tonight is Flora Atieno as our sign language interpreter. Tonight, a startling admission by the Joint Justice and Legal Affairs Committees of Parliament has thrown the fate of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 in limbo. The committee says there were errors in bills debated in some 32 county assemblies, opening up the process to legal hurdles. The report also designates that delimitation of boundaries as the mandate, of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, not politicians. Our senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi is going to bring us up to speed in a little bit. But first, the State Law Office has filed an application seeking to overturn an order stopping the Judicial Service Commission from making a determination on the next Chief Justice upon completion of the interviews. Solicitor General Ken Ogeto argues that the case may drag the recruitment process beyond constitutional timelines. Our reporter Vincent Odor covered the final day of interviews.
It was the last day of interviews for the position of Chief Justice, a two-week exercise that brought 10 candidates before the Judicial Service Commission panel. But there will be no names yet. A Tuesday court order barred JSC from evaluating the candidates until a petition challenging the composition of the panel, among other issues, is heard and determined.
We will wait for the court process to be concluded before we resume and conclude the process in terms of announcing our nominee and also commencing the process of interviewing the judges of the Supreme Court.
JSC has filed an appeal against the High Court order, which may delay the process of appointing the next Chief Justice.
As a commission, we are very committed to ensuring a credible process and nominate the most deserving candidate when the time comes.
An affidavit filed by Solicitor General Ken Ogeto challenging the High Court order reads, any vacancy in the office of the Chief Justice must be filled within 6 months from January 12th, 2021.
Tell us what the judiciary...
Rounding out the 10-day exercise was lawyer Alice Yano Chepkoech, an advocate of 25 years experience and former commissioner in the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission. She is the youngest and least experienced of the 10 candidates.
And all that partakes to being a Chief Justice. I've been a leader. From day one, I told you how by the time I was barely 21, I was a whole headmistress of a secondary school. The university, I was a student leader and leader to the Senate. CKRC, I was the deputy to the finance manager.
And when asked how she would address the standoff over appointment of 41 judges,
I'll start caucusing with the Attorney General. First, we sit down with the members of this commission. First of all, let us evaluate as members, what is the problem? Then if the next way forward is to go and see or meet with the appointing authority, if we have a lady CJ, like for me, I think I just pick a phone call and call Mama Margaret, kindly call me for a cup of tea and get me to know the moods of Mzee. Can he get to hear us? And then I come and talk to my members of the commission, we move and go and meet Mzee.
Yano was at pains to explain away constitutional provisions on education equality.
To expose diversity, let us move also the universities to other regions other than having them concentrated in areas that were well known to be concentrated.
What is the term used in Article 27 for that kind of intervention?
Can I maybe look at the Constitution, my lord?
Well, the answer is there. Maybe look at it. It is called affirmative action. So I'll move on to the next question.
The completion of the exercise pending the court case, now a step closer to the appointment of David Maraga's successor.
And
Article 166, sub-article 1A of the Constitution provides that the President shall appoint the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice in accordance with the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission and subject to the approval of the National Assembly. Vincent Oduor, NTV.
Once the case to do with the recruitment of the next Chief Justice is dispensed with, the Commission, and that is the Judicial Service Commission, will embark on the exercise of recruiting a judge of the Supreme Court, and that is to replace Justice Jackton Ojwang, who retired early last year. JSC has shortlisted 9 candidates for the position, whose interviews were scheduled to be held next week but have now been stopped. They include some of the names of those who've been interviewed for the position of Chief Justice, primarily the judges. They are Court of Appeal President Justice William Ouko, Justice Said Juma Chitembwe, Lady Justice Martha Kome, Justice D.K. Marete Njagi, Justice Inoti Kadhurima, Justice Matthew Nderi Nduma, Dr. Lumumba Patrick Lumumba, Justice Sagon Joseph Kiplagat, and lawyer Alice Yano Chepkoech, who you just had in that report by Vincent Oduor. Earlier, I told you of a startling admission by the Joint Justice and Legal Affairs Committees of Parliament that has thrown the fate of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 in limbo. If you're wondering which bill that is, perhaps you know it as the BBI bill. The committee says that there were errors in bills debated in some 32 county assemblies, opening up the process to legal hurdles. The report also designates that delimitation of boundaries as the mandate of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and not politicians. Our senior political affairs reporter, Kennedy Mureithi, has that report.
For the last 5 days, members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committees of the National Assembly and the Senate were holed up at the Windsor Hotel to draft the final report on the BBI bill. The committees say they had reached an agreeable way forward.
We have completed and we are going to forward the respective two reports, one to the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly.
I have signed the report myself, and Honorable Tienda has signed, everybody is signing, and we leave it now to the plenary of both houses.
As it gets out of our hands, ours is just to pray that when it gets to the two speakers, the two houses, that we will look at the document soberly.
It is also emerging that the bills presented before the county assemblies may have been varied in content.
We had a bill where there was misprinting of Article 89.7. What appeared in that bill was 87 sub-article 7. And we have taken note of that typing error. And that affected 32 county assemblies. That is captured in our report. We may be wrong, but that is the fact. We have said that it was a typing error in the bill that went to 32 county assemblies. 11 of them received a bill that did not have a typing error.
This causing consternation of a possible existence of two bills.
No.
We have said it.
We have told it is one.
But even as the committees fight to defend their work, it is also emerging that the approval of the bill by county assemblies may be challenged in court as a consequence.
Even if you go to the standing orders of both houses, you see that these are errors that are correctable. They are not even correctable on a motion in the House. The Speaker has inherent powers to correct errors that do not go, that are apparent on the record, on the bill.
But as a majority of the members of the committee try to defend their report, Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja has initiated the writing of a minority report challenging a common position the committee has taken. According to the committee, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is the only body with the prerogative to delimit boundaries.
I want to understand on what basis, for instance, Mombasa County, which has about 580,000 registered voters, got 3 new constituencies, whereas Murang'a County, which has about 590,000 registered voters, only got 1 constituency.
Former Senate Minority Whip Irungo Kangata, also a member of the committee, held a dissenting opinion on the report.
That highlights the problem of a process that is not consensual, a process that is being pushed, a process that is political.
But even as the committee members fumble on what may be the way forward for the report after it is handed over to both speakers of both houses, they find solace in saying that it will still go to the people who have the final say. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Kiambu County.
Away from matters BBI, former rugby player Alex Olaba is facing charges of attempted murder, and that is in a botched plot to eliminate a key witness in a rape case in which he and Frank Wanyama, another rugby star, are accused of gang raping a woman. The court has ordered that Olaba be detained for 7 more days to allow police complete investigations, and Melito Letenges has those details.
Alex Olaba was arrested in Madaraka Estate and spent the night at the Kilimani police station before being arraigned in court. It is alleged the former rugby player had approached hitmen with an intention to eliminate a key witness in a case in which Olaba and former rugby player Frank Wanyama are facing charges of raping a musician 3 years ago. Police, however, got wind of his plan, and undercover officers posing as hitmen pounced on him.
He has actually hired hitmen or a hitman and was arrested in a meeting meant to fulfill his goal.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations requested the court for 10 days to detain Olaba as they carry out investigations on attempted murder. But Magistrate Bernard Ochoi allowed the application by the investigators to have Olaba remanded for 7 days, saying the reasons are compelling as he could interfere with witnesses.
If the respondent is released before completion of the investigation is conducting, he may interfere with the investigation.
Olaba's 2 phones have been confiscated in order to trace his communications with the hitmen to gather evidence. After he was arrested, Olaba told police he had been possessed by evil spirits. Alex Olaba and his former teammate Frank Wanyama had been released on a cash bail of 300,000 shillings by the Milimani Law Courts after the High Court quashed their conviction for 15 years each on grounds of lack of sufficient evidence that a key witness was sworn in before taking the stand. The court ordered a retrial with the 2 out on bail.
The respondent is facing a case of gang rape that is pending before court, but the respondent has been trying to sabotage the case by trying to influence witnesses.
The 2 are alleged to have committed the rape offense on February 11, 2018 at an apartment in High-Rise Estate in Nairobi. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
A month after President Uhuru Kenyatta imposed a lockdown on the capital city and the surrounding counties, the Ministry of Health says that the COVID numbers are starting to reflect a positive outcome. Tonight, we're reporting a positivity rate of 11% after 773 new infections were recorded out of a sample size of 7,036. This brings the cumulative number of infections recorded since March of last year to 155,165. We are, however, not out of the woods yet, with another 23 deaths to report, unfortunately. 10 occurred on diverse dates within the last 1 month, while 13 are late death reports following facility audits. Of those infected, 1,469 are admitted to health facilities countrywide, with 263 of them in ICU. We wish them a speedy recovery. 726 COVID patients have recovered in the last day, bringing the total number of recoveries to 106,093. As for the number of people who've so far been vaccinated against COVID-19 with the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, well, that number stands at 802,760. Staying with matters COVID, Kisumu Governor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o has been summoned to appear before the Senate Standing Committee on Health a week from now, and that is on Friday, April the 30th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. This is after Nyong'o failed to appear before the committee in person on Tuesday to respond to queries raised in a special audit report on the utilization of COVID-19 funds. The amount in question is 238.57 million shillings, and that was disbursed to the county to aid in the fight against COVID-19. Nyong'o's administration stands accused of spending 209.82 million shillings without approved COVID-19 training plans. This would be in contravention of Section 107 of the County Government Act 2012 that states that county government plans shall be the basis for all budgeting in a county. In addition, the auditor flagged commingling, that is the mixing in of conditional grants from the national government with other sources of funds in the COVID-19 response, and that amounts to 159.82 million shillings. The Kisumu County government also stands accused of failing to utilize 930,000 shillings for frontline healthcare workers' allowance and for the delayed transfer of 7.7 million shillings donated by Danida from the Kisumu County accounts to health facilities. The government now says that Kenya will realize 100% usage of clean cooking fuels by 2028, even as the country stares at a possible reversion of the levying of a value-added tax on liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, starting the next financial year. Speaking during a panel discussion at the Virtual Leaders Summit on Climate Change convened by the U.S. President Joe Biden, President Uhuru Kenyatta said that Kenya is on course to realize this target 2 years ahead of the United Nations set deadline. This, however, raises questions since the Finance Act 2020 reinstated VAT on LPG but delayed the levy for 12 months to July 2021. This implies that starting July, Kenyans will part with a lot more for their daily use of LPG. President Kenyatta also decried the funding shortage suffered by developing economies in mitigating climate change.
Financing. most developing countries are struggling to finance climate mitigation and adaptation actions. A recent UN Adaptation Gap report estimates that the current annual adaptation costs in developing countries to be about $70 billion US, and this is expected to rise to about $140 to $300 billion by the year 2030 if no action is taken today.
More on NTV Weekend Edition on the other side of this break.
Pampers Pants is now available with a 2-piece pack at only 50 bob.
I see innovation and entrepreneurship thriving. I see young Kenyans remaking the world around them, creating lasting solutions to tomorrow's problems today. And I see women just like me at the heart of this revolution. And while others might see symbols and numbers, these girls see the language of the future. My name is Dorcas Owino, and I am a co-director at LACAB.
Wow, thank you for your time.
And do you have any question for us?
How juicy.
Juicy. Juicy. Niko fiti maze niko fiti majamana mabenti wako fiti. Juicy fruit.
We've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Thank you for staying with us on NTV Weekend Edition. 11 traders have been arrested by officers from the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, for being in possession of plastic bags in Toi and Dagoretti market. Plastic bags are banned in the country, but according to NEMA, they're slowly finding their way back into the market. Rose Wangwe has those details.
It was an unwelcome surprise for vendors at Toi and Dagoretti markets as NEMA officials organized a raid with the help of police officers. They unearthed consignments of banned plastic bags. According to NEMA, several small-scale traders still cling onto plastic bags for packaging their products despite the ban. The traders that use the bags include those selling vegetables, clothes, cooked food and milk, despite being aware of the ban and the stiff penalties. The usage has given life to the illegal production and sale of the bags that are a major threat to the environment.
The major distributors have not yet been netted so far. And also the Kadogo economy, those who use for packaging, are not ready to reveal to us who are doing this.
11 people were arrested in the operation. NEMA says it will now adopt new and stern methods to ensure proper enforcement of the ban.
There seems to be another surge of single use on the market that we need to eradicate. But what we shall tell those who are still in use or those who are producing is that we shall not tire. We shall continue with our enforcement till we ensure that the Kenyan environment is clean and safe and secure.
Kenya banned the use of single-use carrier bags in February 2017, which took effect on August 28th of that year. The ban applied to all plastic carrier bags and flat bags used for commercial and household packaging. Rozongoi, NTV.
A vaccine against malaria has proven to be 77% effective, raising hopes that one of the world's most deadly diseases could be brought under control. Malaria kills more than 400,000 people a year, mostly children in sub-Saharan Africa. Developed by Oxford University, the vaccine is the first to meet the World Health Organization's malaria vaccine technology roadmap goal of a malaria vaccine with at least 75% efficacy. A trial was done on on 450 children in Burkina Faso, and the vaccine was found to be safe and showed high-level efficacy over 12 months of follow-up. To assess a large-scale safety and efficacy, a trial in 4,800 children aged between 5 and 36 months across 4 African countries will be done. The university hopes to be able to manufacture at least 200 million doses annually. Malaria is a life-threatening disease caused by parasites that are transmitted to people through mosquito bites. Human rights groups are now calling for measures to address a horrifying surge in domestic violence linked to anxieties from lockdowns to contain COVID-19. In 2020, over 5,000 gender-based violence cases were reported, according to the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Gender, and that is Margaret Kobia. Human rights organizations now want the ministry to come up with a multi-sectoral approach that involves enhancing access to health services, legal services, and social protection systems for survivors of GBV.
We, comprising of local and community grassroots organizations, have come together with a common purpose of highlighting the serious situation in the country regarding alarming increase in the cases of sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV. As citizens of Kenya, we take note that the COVID-19 health regulations are essential in suppressing the pandemic in Kenya.
Today we ask the government to declare gender-based violence a national disaster. We want to tell the president of this nation that it has become too much, and we are saying enough is enough. Lives cannot be bought in a supermarket, and we won't continue just remaining at our comfort zone.
The government makes the prevention and redress of violence against women a key part of its national response plans for COVID-19. That it also ensures sufficient budget allocation for GBV response and creates safe spaces for individuals in mental distress to seek support.
Business news on the other side of this break.
What is family? Family is a solid foundation to build on and a strong pillar to lean on. It is believing in each one of us for the betterment of all of us. Family is working together today to win together tomorrow. It is creating opportunities for a lifetime of happiness. It is knowing we are valued, respected, understood, and most of all, supported. The future is bright because you can always bank on family. Family Bank, with you for life.
Introducing Nestle Ceregrow Growing Up Cereal. Each bowl of Nestle Ceregrow contains the goodness of cereals and nutrition your child needs to blossom. That's one less thing to worry about. Nestle Ceregrow. It's all good, Mom.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex.
Protex. Good health starts here.
Invest in the new, fully furnished Grand Suisse Suites situated on the serene Riat Hills in Kisumu City. Each unit has a modern ensuite bedroom, a spacious living area, and a modern kitchen. At only 5 million Kenya shillings, a buyer is guaranteed a monthly income of 40,000 shillings. Plus, free access to facilities at the Grand Royal Swiss Hotel. call us on 0720 927 238.
Hii ng'ombe ni yako. Asante. Hii ng'ombe itatoa maziwa mengi kabisa. Sasa shida ya school fees imeisha. Jen, chukua hii. Hebu nikuulize, hii maneno nasikia ya bima ya elimu inaweza kuwa namna gani mtu anachukua?
Process ya kuchukua insurance cover yote ni rahisi. Hata niko na cover ya gari yangu. Kwanza unajaza proposal form kama hii na uijaze wewe mwenyewe. Na kama haujui kusoma, uijaze na mtu unayemwamini. Hakikisha ile majibu umepatiana ni sahihi na ni ya kweli. Pia thibitisha insurance cover imeangalia maslahi yako. Na usiwahi sign proposal form ambayo haijaandikwa kitu chochote. Pia ukumbuke kujitolea photocopy yako.
Oh, sasa wacha nianze hiyo process.
By the way, ukisubmit hiyo proposal form, uhakikishe umepatiwa policy document. Uisome na uielewe. Hiyo ndio thibitisho ya kuwa una bima. Asante sana.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA.
NTV Business News in association with Sendi.
The shift to a risk-based pricing model in the insurance sector will help the industry weed out players who are engaging in price undercutting and threatening the stability of the sector. This is according to the Jubilee Holdings Regional Chief Executive Officer, who argues that the reforms being undertaken in the insurance industry, including the draft policy, will help strengthen the sector. The industry has been struggling with an asset-liability mismatch among some players, which translates into the inability to meet claims by policyholders as and when they fall due.
Those underpricing, underquoting is because companies have reached desperation level. Cash flow is now very tight, so you are valuing a shilling today, but postpone the problem to tomorrow. But because of capital adequacy ratios, it catches up with you. So that is why the regulator has proposed we go into risk-based approach in calculating the capital adequacy.
Kenya's legal framework has embraced the green agenda, but businesses are still not attuned to the benefits of embracing the sustainability agenda. Lack of awareness on the steps to take in order to become a sustainable business is also a potent hurdle preventing businesses from going green. Alex Mwangi sat for an exclusive interview with the Deputy Chief Executive of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance to find out the level of uptake of the green agenda by businesses a day after Earth Day.
How does a business know that it has attained sustainability?
Sustainability is about the two ways. You're looking at one, it can be maintained at a certain level for many years. And then there's the meaning of, in terms of management of the natural resources into, just we can call it, you consume it sustainably. You don't waste it. If your strategy does not talk about sustainability, then clearly you're not even in that direction.
The world celebrated Earth Day on Thursday this week. At the just concluded Leaders Summit on Climate, US President Joe Biden said that tackling climate change will create jobs, some of which we are yet to conceive. Here in Kenya, businesses have adopted piecemeal reforms when it comes to going green, perhaps because of ignorance on the attendant benefits.
So going green, what has been there before is that we incorporate it in very small areas, but we've not looked at the bigger picture. There are so many advantages for these businesses to go green. So when we move the discussion just from normal operational level to the boardroom discussions, then it is a good way for businesses to go green. What are we seeing? How are we looking at the human capital that we have? Are they being made aware of what going green means? What is sustainability for those even in the finance industry?
So what are the consequences of going on with business as usual?
There is a green economy assessment report that was done in 2014. And it was looking at both of them, the business as usual scenario and the going green business scenario. What was identified is that actually the growth in terms of GDP growth, when you move green, tend to exceed when some businesses sustained at the usual way of doing business. The other thing is we're looking at temperatures rising. Remember, as a continent or as the world, we're just trying to maintain an increase, as in you don't want it to go, say, more than 1.5 degrees centigrade.
KEPSA is developing a strategy for the private sector that will act as beacons of light to guide enterprises in the transition into sustainable entities.
Why do you want to buy new things every single time, yet you have a resource? Your waste can actually be your raw material into another product.
Alex Mwangi, NTV.
So that way.
Speaking of waste being a raw material for another product, stakeholders in the public and private sector have been urged to mainstream approaches towards actualization of the circular economy as Kenya grapples with waste management and optimization of scarce resources. Speaking during the launch of Biofood Products' inaugural sustainability report, Environment Principal Secretary Chris Kipto said Kenya needs to step up measures taken towards ensuring that waste is reduced, reused and recycled.
The circular economy is important because it provides us an opportunity to reverse what we have seen, because we are able then to reduce waste, we are able to reuse waste, and we are able to recycle waste. In our climate change action plan, we have gone ahead to mainstream circular economy as an important tool to fight climate change.
Feel Good Friday coming up after this break.
NTV Business News in association with Sandy.
What does it take to move a nation? It takes Sandy.
No matter what's going on in the world, there's one place you can go to stay up to date with the latest global news. The BBC News World Service app helps you go behind the headlines and make sense of what's going on around the world. And with a call to listen button, you can listen to live radio without using your data. Download the BBC News World Service app and start listening today.
This looks different.
It is. See for yourself.
Okay, so it's a photo.
Look closer. Photos within photos.
What about video?
8K video. Beyond cinema quality.
So...
You can pull portrait quality photos straight from video.
But will it last the whole trip?
Battery for the whole trip and the way back.
This is different.
Told you.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally. Now introducing new Colgate Charcoal Gently Clean for a naturally fresh and clean mouth.
At the first sign of pain, you need a solution that you can trust to provide effective relief and is gentle on the stomach. Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance. This has been Medifax for Panadol.
Business in Narok town came to a standstill on Thursday evening after members of the public staged demonstrations to protest alleged police harassment. Residents claim that the police have been arresting people for flouting curfew rules only to release them after they part with a cool 3,000 shillings.
Chaos rocked Narok town for over 2 hours as angry residents took to the streets. The rowdy protesters who engaged the police in run-in battles accused the law enforcers of high-handedness as they enforced COVID-19 containment regulations. From the Majengo slums, mostly youth barricaded the Narok Maimahi road with rocks and burnt tires while chanting anti-police slogans. At some point, the protesters almost overpowered the police, forcing them to call for reinforcement. It all started at an eatery in the town center where police confronted some revelers who are not wearing face masks.
Na tumesema hatuvai mask, wacha tukufe na corona. Sisi tumesema namna hiyo.
Hata hii asla mtu wa pikipiki amebeba customer, wanamshika, wanampora, wanamtoa hiyo mask. Wanampora. Sasa hao watu hata hao wenyewe ni wakora. Sisi hatujakuwa wezi na hatujakuwa criminal. Kwa hivyo tunakula jasho yetu.
Tunasema hivi kinaga upaga. Huyu OCS wa hapa amekuwa kichijio wa wananchi. Tunatoa watu kila saa.
The protest caused heavy traffic on the busy road. Security officials have advised the residents to follow the COVID-19 containment measures strictly.
Criminal or criminal? Part leader or party leader? Well, that was the struggle that Ford Kenya party members went through in their bid to be heard. And while that went on, politicians are seemingly struggling with boredom owing to the ban on political gatherings. Some, if not all, have chosen to pick their struggles and come up with ways to stay in the eyes of the public. And as Sydney Chizima narrates, it takes a struggle to beat a struggle. Word of the week, well, you shouldn't struggle too much to find out.
Muka tukaenda Nairobi, kaenda kwa political tribunal court.
Hold on a bit, sir. What is going on?
Tulifanya kura yetu na wale ambao walishiriki sisi wakasema ya kwamba we are the people, we are the leaders.
You are what?
We are the leaders.
Watasemaji, sisi ndio viongozi wa Ford Kenya. We are here to clear matters squarely, perpendicularly, and rectangularly.
There is a struggle brewing in the Simba party.
Simba, Simba, Simba.
And the leaders are leading themselves into a war of words.
Munamumanya, munamulola sawa sawa. Huyu ndiye gavana wetu 2022.
Grassroots officials rubbish Honorable Dr. Chris Wamaloa's endorsement by the party leader.
Mimi kama Chris Wamalwa, I have received an endorsement kutoka kwa Papa wa Roma himself, Wetangula.
All positions shall be vied for in a free, fair and transparent exercise.
Wale ambao wanapinga the appointment of Chris should know that I am the party leader.
But Bwana Weta, they are in a struggle and they are just demanding for a fair electoral process.
Kutisha Pomas, sisi machambuzi tugie Pomas, tuone nani anastahili kuwa party leader.
Mkubwa, sema tena party leader.
Party leader, party leader.
It is the struggle with pronunciation perhaps, and what they term unfairness in party nomination processes.
That all forms of political gathering be and are hereby prohibited for a period of 30 days.
And since that decree, politicians seemingly have struggled with inactivity, not until Obado chose to pursue another struggle. He may be struggling with musical notes or not, but this is a struggle Obado has learned to beat. But hold on. It is the holy month, and you can call him Al-Haji Sakaja, and maybe he won't struggle to deny. There are names we struggle to outlive, but perhaps for Manstivo, accepting your pudding with an abundance of watermelons is part of embracing your struggles. But while at it, there are those struggling to accept Mangidi's recent dalliance with the top seat.
Sasa pengine Gideon aliona viatu ya babake, alifaa akasema, "Oh, mimi ni baba, oh, mimi ni baba." Gideon, wewe si baba, wewe ni kijana ya baba. Nilipochunguza kwa nini ile viatu alikuwa amefaa, hata viatu alikuwa mtoshi, alikuwa amejaza matawi ndani yaonekana kiongozi.
Kila mtu avagie kwake. I too choose to pick my struggles. Sydney Chazima, NTV.
We shift gears now to what's been happening away from Kenya's borders, and a state funeral has been held for Chad's long-serving president Idris Deby, and that is in the capital, Njamena. Yes, a few days after he died from wounds sustained fighting rebels at the weekend. Thousands of people were in attendance, including France's President Emmanuel Macron and leaders of Guinea, Mali, Mauritania and Nigeria. They called Deby a great friend who served tirelessly. Deby was a key figure in the fight against the Sahel's jihadist insurgency, and France and regional allies have voiced backing for his son and successor Mahamat Idris Deby. Macron called on Mahamat to foster stability, inclusion, dialogue and democratic transition. Deby's son has said the army will hold democratic elections in 18 months, but opposition leaders have condemned his succession as a coup, and an army general said many officers were opposed to the transition. India posted a record rise in new coronavirus cases on Thursday in an alarming surge being blamed on a double mutant variant and super spreader events. Crematoriums are working around the clock in many Indian cities, including New Delhi, to cope with the increasing COVID-19 fatalities as grieving families wait for hours to cremate their deceased relatives. Indian Health Ministry data showed nearly 315,000 new infections were recorded in the past 24 hours, the most any country has recorded in a day since the pandemic began. And that is as hospitals sent out desperate warnings that patients could die without fresh oxygen supplies. Concern about it has led some countries, including the United Kingdom, to slap travel restrictions on India. The United Arab Emirates became the latest to join the list, announcing Thursday that it would suspend all flights from India. Sports news up next.